All right, everybody, it's Leo Brady with AMovieGuy.com here with Richard Bates Jr., director of Night King, and a darn good director at that, too. I'm totally excited. Sorry, King Knight. I said the title wrong there. Yeah, but he's here talking with me today, and thanks for being here with me.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So you've had a relatively young career so far, 5 feature films, but I noticed that you've been able to gather a lot of like cinema legends to work with you on your films. I see John Waters and Malcolm McDowell, Marlee Matlin, Robert Patrick, to name a few. What do you attribute the reasoning for you to be able to gather such great talent?
Luck, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Luck and complete and utter shamelessness, and I mean that sincerely.
Yeah.
Because I make movies because I love movies. So, and all these people that you're bringing up, they mean a lot to me. Their careers mean a lot to me. So, when I have parts and opportunities arise for me to, have them in my films or pay homage to them or whatever, I go for it. I walked into agencies and pretended I had money I didn't, that then I had to find afterwards. I've done it all, and I find that if you can dig yourself in a deep enough hole where it's completely dire, you will find a way to get out because you have to.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to go about it, honestly. I mean, I think it leads to you being able to work with some...
They don't tell you that in film school, but it's practical advice.
No, yeah, well, and like for me, my first sort of introduction to your work was Excision, like a lot of people, and you kind of put Annalyn McCord on the map a little bit, you could say, but that movie's having its 10-year anniversary next year. So what kind of...
That's pretty crazy.
That's really crazy. So what kind of perspective do you have on that film now, looking back at it? Because it's really kind of an awesome horror film.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I love it because it was my first movie. I had so much time to prepare for it. The character meant so much. Annalyn is, now like family to me.
Yeah.
All the little movies I've been able to get made are kind of, I would say, I can watch each one of them and know exactly where I was at that point in my life. It's like I'm kind of documenting my existence with each one. It's Excision is high school, and then Suburban Gothic's, post-collegiate.
Yeah.
Trash Fire, becoming an adult, and Tone Deaf, the elections, and then this is sort of this fatherhood. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm literally trying to, I guess, abstractly document my existence by making these little things.
Yeah, so it allows you to look back at Excision and see sort of where you were, where your state of mind was at that time to make such kind of a cool film.
Well, thank you, and yeah. I'm really proud of that one. I think Annalyn was just really brilliant in Trash Fire too.
Yeah.
Which is a fascinating one to look back on, because I watch it now and it's so dark, and I really didn't think it was at the time.
Yeah.
Which is disturbing in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, this is a nice movie. I think people will enjoy this.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? So it's always fascinating. It's fun.
Yeah, well, and let's talk about King Knight a little bit. So you write all of your films. So where did you come up with the idea of this, and what made you want to look into this character as sort of a coven leader?
So it was after Tone Deaf, I was trying to figure out what to do next, right? And
yeah.
With everything going on, the state of the say. Everything felt ominous.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make something happy to make myself happy, and then hopefully make others happy.
Yeah.
And I really started from there. This is the first time I started writing, saying I'm gonna make a comedy, my version of straight up whatever that is comedy.
Yeah.
So I've been pitched a witch movie, a director for hire thing, and not a bad script or anything, but it's just it made me realize that I'd love to make a witch movie, but I love witches. Like, I don't think they're bad. Like, they're probably the nicest people ever.
Yeah.
So the idea was to make a movie about a coven of witches where they're the protagonists, right? And so, I kind of it takes place in the same heightened version of reality as my other movies, except maybe it's even a little more farcical.
Yeah.
But I stripped it of cynicism for the first time. So everything is like, earnest, and then hopefully just someone watches and they see witches as just humans, just like anyone else, and people searching for the same answers to the same questions, because we all are. And so I didn't want to like treat them holier than thou or revere them. Like, I didn't want to preach one way or the other. The idea is to have fun, and then by the end of it, hopefully they win some people up.
Yeah, well, and you definitely do, I think. Well, and I love your lead character, played by Matthew Gray Gubler, and we mentioned Anna Lynn, and between him, you've worked with Matthew a lot. He's kind of become your go-to. So what makes your working relationship with him work so well?
Well, I mean, just in regular life, he's one of my best pals.
Yeah.
So, we get each other's like references. So, I make very specifically, tonally kind of incongruous things, and all the references I bring up, he understands, and so do a lot of his other actors that I bring back. It kind of had this dream of being part of a circus, right? So it's kind of, with King Knight, for instance, I financed it myself, and I used my own money, and then I took out a loan so I could have total control. And so there's not an actor in it who I didn't 100% want to cast. Like, I even did the contracts and negotiated with all the actors' agents for the first time.
Oh, it's awesome.
So that was awesome. And then, so when you have the right people for the parts, there's complete trust. So I can sit them down, and rather than micromanage, I gave one blanket rule for the beginning. No matter how ridiculous a line of dialogue is, or preposterous a scenario seems to you, you are not acting in a comedy. You are acting in Sophie's Choice. Yeah. And they all committed to it. You know what I'm saying? And it makes me laugh every time, and it's just so fun to me. And they get my references. So when we switch from Act 1 to Act 2, I can say, "Hey guys, okay, now I want you to imagine if Nickelodeon remade Holy Mountain." And they get it, and that's where we go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, well, and you talk about sort of getting your actors, getting them to, in many ways, do the things that they know, kind of understand where you're coming from. And I don't want to reveal too much to our audience because I want them to see the movie and I want them to experience it the first time. But there's an awesome scene where Matthew's character does this amazing dance. So I have to ask you, who came up with that dance, and what was it just like shooting that scene?
So in the script, I wrote the dance to that song, specific song.
Yeah.
I wanted to end the film with a dance to that song. I love that song.
Yeah.
I found it actually on a Witch House playlist on Spotify.
Awesome.
The movies are primarily made up of quote-unquote witch house songs.
Yeah.
So once we figured that out, then the idea was, I'm talking to Goobs, and I don't want it to be a purposely stupid dance, but he can't look like he's technically proficient. So it's walking this super fine line. So I called my friend Angela, who was in Trash Fire, which is a dancer, and she referred me to a choreographer who we scheduled lessons for Goose. Just enough lessons where he knew the routine,
Yeah.
but not enough where he could actually like perfect any of the moves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then we just did it.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. And then it pretty much explains why the dance looks and feels the way that it feels, because it's just kind of this mixture of awesome and like, what the hell did I just watch?
Precisely. That's I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, now you kind of get this movie to play for the Fantasia Film Festival, which I think is awesome, because I think there's not a better crowd to sort of get a kind of humor and style of a film like this. So for you, what is it like to have King Knight playing at Fantasia, and sort of tell, our audience what you hope they can glean from watching King Knight?
Okay. I guess the point of the movie, is just to show that. Really, in a nutshell, to show the importance of self-acceptance in order to achieve like true self-growth.
Yeah.
That's sort of his journey.
Yeah.
But it's also, quite frankly, to hammer the point home that regardless of our differences, we all have a hell of a lot more in common than we think.
Yeah.
And we truly are all searching in very different ways for the same answers to the same questions. So that's sort of the point. The Fantasia thing is just like always the dream.
Yeah.
Because every one of my movies is played at Fantasia, and it's always just the most nice, wonderful audience. And Fantasia means especially a lot to me because my short film of Excision that I made in college was accepted there. It was one of the first, I believe it was the first big festival.
Wow.
So they were accepted, and Mitch wrote me an email telling me how much he liked it. And when you're like a kid making a strange movie like that, and someone like Mitch tells you you're not half bad at making movies, it goes an incredibly long way.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. So that's to me, Mitch is so much a part of Fantasia to me, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
to everyone. It's like they're synonymous. It's just a special festival.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I talked with Barbara Crampton yesterday, and she talked about sort of how everybody lifts everybody up. And I think that's why it made sense why she's in your film, why you have this fantastic cast. And I think, honestly, it's one of the more fun movies that I've seen in 2021. So congrats on that.
That makes me feel really good. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, Richard Bates Jr., thanks so much for talking with me today, and we look forward to everybody seeing King Knight, and I look forward to seeing your next movie after that, because it's exciting stuff.
Yeah, man. Thank you, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Awesome. Thanks, Richard.
Thanks.
Take care.